Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap Advanced webinar and live trading webinar here. So it's actually live analysis, forward-looking, Monday, Tuesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Live trading is on Wednesday and Thursday with J Trader, Stocks Trader, and Scalpel Senior Futures Trader, respectively. So let's jump right in and look at these markets and see what's going on. And then we'll go over the some other elements as well. All right, so looking at the S&P E-mini here, we can look at other markets if you guys like as well. However, it's really up to you. Look at other markets. It's this webinar is for going over all markets that Bookmap can connect to. So we can look at crypto, we can look at futures, we can also look at stocks. So just let me know, and we can go over that. We just came from a foreign language webinar in German, so with Oliver sparring. So that's why we're a little late in here today. Anyway, let's jump in here. Let's see what's going on. And as you guys can see, pretty well, there's a bit of a breakout here at the cash open here, but it's been pretty sideways. You can't mark up the market structure better than this, than the liquidity, how it's doing the job here. High liquidity on the bid down here around 40.14, on the offer up here around 28, and then up here that's just been pulled and added a little bit lower, as you can see right here, after 8:30, down here around 40. All right, so and you can see we spiked up into these areas through it here, not up to 50 though, not quite, and then a pretty steep pullback right back down to where it broke out from, basically. So anyway, here's our market structure. Okay, this is what we're kind of looking at. Now it's kind of ballpark in there. You can really divvy it up if you want. It depends on the time frame you're trading, because you can see structure within structure. These markets are all fractal at different time frames. You're going to get different market structure, and that's where you can start to look and lean into and study specific setups for yourself, structure within structure. All right, so if you're bullish and we're bouncing off of a support area here, well, then this would be a deal for you, right? You'd be looking for the order flow down at this bottom of the range here to support your trade ideas, okay, or your trading plan. If you're bearish, well, then you'd be looking for this not to be supported here around this 30 level. All right, so anyway, let's go through the risk disclosures just quickly here, and then a few other things, and then we'll come back into the markets. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, now we got that out of the way. It is important though, understand this is not a trade recommendation room. This is about order flow, and for all trading strategies. This isn't just one trading strategy. This works with all strategies. A note, so let's get into some housekeeping items here. Number one, well, we just came from a special foreign language event with Oliver sparring. It is on YouTube, so you can go and visit that and watch that if you like. And let me make sure everything's okay here on my... Oh, I'm not presenting here. Or no, I am. Okay. Everything all good here in Discord? Can you guys see my screen? And you can hear me fine, right? Just give me a thumbs up or say yes. Okay, yep, all good. Thank you. I'm so bad. All right. There's a couple things I want to go over. First off, we'll look at the higher time frame, and then for today's lesson, kind of get into some ideas of what to cover here. And I think it will be very helpful. All right, so Friday, for example, let's go over Friday. All right, and let's look at the bigger picture here. We have the daily on the left, the hourly in the center, and the 15-minute here on the right. What's going on? All right, so anyway, this was that big red candle. This was Friday to the downside. This was after Jerome Powell spoke, the Fed chairman, and then you can see us opening up down here. And we got to put some structure on all of this. And I want to cover something that, I had a bias on Friday. And the bias was that, we'd been seeing higher time frame, longer term liquidity. And we really saw some great stuff up above this 42.50. This was, some weeks ago. We also saw some great stuff where we were looking for the drop through that 42.50 on down to this area. And then we noticed there was high liquidity. I mean, just massive high liquidity above this dotted line here. Okay. And all the way up to, I think even a little bit higher here, about 42.60 more or less from what I recall. Just tons of liquidity on the offer up there. We only got up to here, about 42.15 or 16. That was the high. That was at the cash open, I believe, and then it just sold off hard. Now, okay, so it did dip into above our line here, but I had a bias that day that we were going to go higher up into this high liquidity because these traders they were able to push the market up to the gap, and we saw this kind of rally before the event here. I thought we'd be able to get up a little bit higher up into these levels here. It was around 37 or so. I think it was right around in here where we just saw tons of liquidity. So I thought we would get up there, test up there, hit those areas, then sell off. And I was looking for it. I was waiting for it. It was just strong market on Friday. Now, what I want to cover is that I had that bias for that to unfold. And I'm kind of looking at the charts, squinting, waiting, seeing, and there was nothing in here that told us it was going to go up there. There was a few little events where it had possibilities, to maybe like trade or bounce off of here, or maybe down here, or maybe down here. Some of the swings, and it just kept going. So a very, very strong move. Now the error there is not listening to the charts. Okay, actually that's exactly what we do in these webinars. Is we listen to the order flow and we follow the order flow. It rules. It rules the day. It rules everything, the week, the month, whatever. It does not matter. The traders tell us. The market tells us where we think it's going to go. And yet I had a bias up here, held on to it, a bit stubborn about it, and this huge move unfolded here. Okay, so what I want to cover though is that you can have your trade ideas on those biases, but it is the chart that is number one. That is what we follow. The order flow tells us. All right, so and we have these other things in the back of our mind, even on the Friday that it went through all this up in this area here in our afternoon event on the heat map. The order flow was telling us as well. People are getting filled up here, but there was just still more buying pressure. Okay, same thing here. There was like tons of liquidity on the bid getting filled on the way down here as well. Okay, so and then we had the afternoon event with Doug. And even Doug was looking at these markets and it's like, wow, this is rather fascinating how we see the calls and the puts with a positive delta, and yet the market continues to go down. So it never turned around. So anyway, this is something that we go with what the order flow and what the charts are telling us, and try to keep those biases on the back burner and just keep them in your mind, but we're going to go with the chart. All right, so what do we see now today? Well, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. We opened up down here right around here. And there is a bit of market structure in here. It's not much. It's just the high here, or the kind of swing here. And then really the buyers are down here. In fact, a little bit lower. So I would think, maybe around in here. It's a zone. But we'll just bring it down to here. Okay. And we'll leave it there. Yeah, so that would be where I would look for some buyers to start to come in. It's possible here as well, at least come up and fill the gap, maybe even come up and test this 4110 area. But not seeing much here on the daily. What about the hourly here in the middle? Yeah, I mean, here's our strong move to the downside, and it's up here around 40.60 would be that gap fill. And then up here around this kind of 41.20, which was a critical area last week or a while back. Yeah, it's possible, and we'll keep an eye out for it. What about the 15-minute chart here on the right? Not seeing too much in here. I mean, we just see some back and forth in here. There's wicks up above here, means selling pressure basically, and there's some wicks down below, and most of these candles are green. So, and here we go, one more test up here. Now I would assume that we've already found 3 wicks up here, and they're still buying pressure. So we're going to look for if the buyers can continue. Does the order flow support the idea to come up to 40.60 here? All right. Let's see here. You're new to a stream. Thought to get a little knowledge before purchasing. Yeah, sure. Ask questions in here. Ask in Discord. You might find it a little easier in Discord to ask questions in there. Okay, so it's in the advanced webinar area. You'll see the live button lit up in there. Okay. Oh, another thing too. The Tom B will be back tomorrow. Okay, streaming after this webinar. So at 11:30 a.m. He'll be in. All right. So just I'll let you guys know at the end as well. So he will be back from his vacation. All right. Let's zoom in here. Let's see what's going on. We saw those wicks in here, right? Well, here's what makes up those wicks. In fact, let's overlay candlestick chart. Let's clear our drawings and overlay a candlestick chart. Okay. And let's bring down the liquidity a bit here, just to get some clarity in what's going on up here at our level up here. Okay, here's our strong move that we just saw. Okay, it did break the highs, and here they come again. Okay, so again, now we've tested up here a bunch of times, and looking for these buyers to break it now, and then trade on up into areas of high liquidity. Okay, so the first one would be up here around this kind of 52 area, and then our 60 level, which would be that gap fill, right? So let's zoom in here a little closer and see what's going on. Okay, interesting. This little, yeah, this is something actually to cover. You see these faint lines in here. Okay, this is a new feature that we have in here. This is great. So looking for these buyers. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, so we're back up above. Not too much buying up at the top here, but we're looking for buying pressure. Let's look at the order book here as well. Looking for that move. Yeah, they're pulling here. They're adding on the bid. So let's see if we can get the move back up into 50 here. So there's a little bit of a breakdown in here. This is what I'll cover this here. In these little faint yellow lines show an area where there may have been, or there is, an MBO discrepancy. Okay, so during that time, the data in there was not market by order data. All right, so this happens due to, and it's not any fault of ours. Is the MBO data is very particular thing, and sometimes there is well, I don't want to get into the technicals on it too much. Maybe we'll hold a special event or an afternoon event and go over that and this new feature in here because it's important to note this here. You know, there's these order types out there and options and hedging, etc. That negates some of that MBO information. All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll cover it another time. I just want to mention it if you see these yellow lines on here. All right. So kind of volatile back and forth in here, creating this market structure. But let's just watch this here because there's quite a bit of trading up here on the buy side. And I'm still kind of looking to see, like, you know, based on our candlestick here, are we going to be able to trade up a bit higher to maybe our 60 level here? Okay, 58, 60, somewhere around there. Okay, we're at 47 right now. And just due to the analysis in here and understanding highs and lows and market structure, yeah, I'm looking for, I have an outlook here for the order flow to be trading up into these areas here. Okay, so that's kind of the structure. Now let's look at the order flow here. Okay, we want to see buyers at the top. Okay, we want to see the orders, like, well, just like what it's doing here. See them pulling here on the offer. Okay, we should get a breakout here. Okay, up into 52 and 54. Okay, it's got all the pieces here. They're on the bid as well. And not a whole lot on the bid, but they are. And they pulled here, and we're getting buyers. Okay, so here's our retest up here. Okay, don't like it at all here. Maybe we got to get down lower and then see if buyers come back in. But we had buyers up here. This looks good. This is not looking good. This is not looking good. But here we go. Now we're back up again. So we had to bounce off of here and retest and come back up here. Now let's see, do we have the buying pressure now? Okay, they traded into this liquidity here. Okay, still looking for the bid to support it down at the bottom of this range. Okay, and the liquidity's up here. Okay, starting to support it a little bit. Okay, buyers, let's see it. It is dark in here down to this kind of 48 level, so don't like that. All right, let's take a look at the structure in here, making, boy, slightly lower highs in here. That's not good. Okay, we're looking for to see if we can get this up into this 52 to 54 area here. Okay, lots of icebergs, that helps. No, they cannot do it. All right, do we get sellers down here? If we do, bottom of this range, back down to like 44 or 45, I should say. Okay, trade idea is from the higher time frame, and this is not a trade recommendation. Okay, it's just understanding, like, we're looking at the higher time frames. We started here. We started on the daily, and then the hourly, and then the 15-minute, and we noted these wicks in here, but we're up here again. So there's still buying pressure. So let's check: is there buying pressure in the order flow? That's the idea. Okay, and there is some, but not enough here. Not enough, at least not yet. Now here comes another attack. All right, let's take a look. Looks good. Up to 50. And then, boy, buying in here is not bad. Okay, but be careful here. We're looking for a bounce here off the bottom of this range here. If they don't, you know, and we get our sellers in here, they're going to slam it right back down into some of these areas here where the buyers came in. Okay, this is not looking good up here, actually. We didn't get our big green dots up here, and we didn't get above 50 either. Let's jump over. We can look at the NASDAQ. How's the NASDAQ doing? Okay, it's going for it again. Okay, it made a lower high here. And it's struggling. It's struggling too. All right, well, if the buyers can't do it, even on our higher time frame here, you know, we're looking at this 15-minute chart here. If we get another big wick up here, I think the buyers are done. But let's take a look here. Let's zoom in. Ben, you're looking for back to 4,100, okay? Yeah, market structure wise, like, you know, you can see they can't make those higher highs in here, and now they're making lower lows in here. Which Bitcoin product is most liquid on Bookmap? Johnny, I guess you're probably speaking of which exchange. I mean, I think Binance has by far the most. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Ben. There's a Binance futures product as well, which I think you might be interested in. I mean, at least you can have a smaller account. Well, I shouldn't. Not a recommendation. A lot of people you can even see it on our. I'll show it to you in a minute. The liquidation indicator. It's pretty amazing. All right, so as you guys can see, like, you know, our structure here is telling us something. We're looking for our buyers. We're looking for our buyers. Now, I know this is hindsight, but we went over that if they can't do it and we start to see sellers at the bottom of these areas, we're looking for it to come down to 45, and then now even 40 looks pretty good. But 45 looks really good here. Or I'm sorry, where is 45? 45 is here. Actually, it's this one here that I like. Because this is where it broke out from, and we just tested it. Okay, and yet now we still don't see a lot of sellers down here, though, do we? Okay, so let's see if the buyers can mount one more aggressive attack toward 49 and 50 up here. And listen, if we don't see something, that's fine. That's telling us something as well. If we don't see anything interesting in the order flow, we're trying to determine like something that's higher probability by reading the order flow. Okay, Paul, the value area from Friday is 40.55. Seems like it'd be tough to get back up to 4,100, you think? Well, it depends. It's always, you know, we never know. You know, what if there's a lot of people selling in here and we, you know, upend them? Yeah, sure. God, it dropped over 100 points, right, on Friday. You can do the same today. Good morning, Crypto Surfer. Okay, well, all right, you guys can see what happened here. I didn't like it, the order flow here, even in here, not giving us much. We're looking for the aggressor. Okay, we can even make the dots bigger here. Not seeing it. You know, looking for sellers here, looking for sellers here. Okay, this is going to be our stop run in here, and it is. Okay, back down to 40. Okay, we talked about back down to 40, but here we are. All right, so now let's see if we can get our buyers back up above our 40 level. No, I'm sorry, above kind of 42 here, basically. Yeah, right around here, 42. Okay, look for it. We'll look for buyers coming in, and we're looking for the bid here to support this idea. Here we go. All right, buyers, let's see it. Let's see if you got it. And a stream back up into, well, we like some of the swings in here. Look for kind of a value area of all of this up here. We can look at it right here. It's at 47. Okay, which show, so this might be a good area here as a target, would be maybe around 46. This swing up here. Okay, so let's see if these buyers can now do it and get enough buying pressure to do it. This goes back to our original understanding, or retesting back up into these areas here. Okay, so starting to find them again, and this is something we look at all the time in here. This is where the sellers broke down from. This is where the buyers are taking control back up above it. This is trap volume, and we're looking for a stop run up into these areas up here. Okay, this works on all time frames. It's the same concepts, same ideas. It's the buying pressure in here is pretty good. It's not bad. It's starting to wane up here though, so they need to really pick it up, and I'm just not seeing it right now. They may right up here around 45 is where they need to pick it up. Okay, we can get a pullback also to 42.5. Now we need to see them bounce off of this here at 42.5, and you guys can see we're not. We're already through it. Okay, typically if we come back down, and it's already moving too quickly, if we come back down here and there is no support here, we're looking for the sellers to whip through this area, right? Because there's no support here, and the sellers still remain in control even though they didn't really get squeezed here, right? You know who's getting squeezed are these buyers in here, or in some of these other areas. They're getting stopped out now. Okay, so sellers taking control, and let's see where they're going to move it. So our 15-minute chart, maybe down to about this 30 level here, is where we're looking for the momentum to take us. Okay, liquidity's there at 30 as well, and 25. Areas of pullbacks here. Let's take a look. Areas of pullback, maybe here. Yeah, I'm also above the swing, but this looks really good in here, around 40. And that was that previous area we looked at over here. Okay, they could even pull back to here. And sellers could still be in control from here. Okay, very shallow pullback. Didn't even come up to here, just to the tops of the swings here so far. And sellers coming in, and yeah, looking for the push into 30. All right, 9:30 cash open. Let's also take a look down at this level here. So at about 40.20, there's liquidity down there. Let's mark it up. Okay, no reason to get out of this. If you guys were, you know, in this on the short side, then different ways of managing it, of course, many different ways. Taking some off here and trying to let your runner hit, maybe, is it 25, or, you know, do you see something? Do you want to wait for maybe some sort of change to happen here in the structure before you get out of your position? Okay, so that's something we haven't really mentioned too much. Usually look at these areas of high liquidity for as a target and for managing your trades. But what about holding that runner? Okay, well, this one's kind of, you know, this is where the emotions really start to kick in. So do you want to hold it for and look for market structure to shift and change, and order flow to shift and change, or do you just want to hold it? Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want to wait for that structure and order flow to change and then you get out, or do you just want to hold it till your target is met and then just get out? Okay, this is up to you. Because you know, a lot of people, they like to take some off, but then let their runner like do its job. Now, the drawbacks of something like that is pretty simple. Sometimes, like, it may pull back and you'll lose out on, well, you gave back what that winner gave you. Okay, so it's up to you. If it messes with you, messes with your head, and it's something that makes you more emotional, then just consider getting out with your limit take profits, and that's that. Now, this is where it's going to play with your emotions again, is what if it just continues to go like another 100 points? So what are you going to do? There's, you know, you'll just, there's one way or the other. It's up to you. You have to figure out what best suits you. Okay, now this should be based on your strategies, the way that you look at the markets, and we're talking about order flow in here. All right, let's see here. Any other questions? Seems difficult to read, Nick, for the first time. Oh, difficult day to read. Yeah, well, I mean, I think we were looking for and holding out for buyers up here, and notice the kind of shift and change here, and then was looking for you know, some of these lower levels in here, but we could still be bullish. In fact, in here, there was that potential again, like we've seen it so many times where we get our shift, or I'm sorry, this follow through here to the downside into high liquidity, and then a back up above it here, and then back up into these areas here. Not enough buyers, just simply not enough buyers. They were able to take it only back to this swing in here. And then we noted, now this is where, like, look for this. It happened really quickly, but this is something that, we see it so many times. Look for it in here. If the sellers are going to continue on, if they start to get down into here, we're looking for the continuation, typically, in the order flow. Why? Because they're not supporting it on the bid. There's no one here on the bid, or there's very little. And these guys actually got filled in there. But we don't see, do you see any green in here? Very, very little in here, right? So the sellers are in control. So that's when we're looking for the control to continue into lower levels or high liquidity down here at 30, and then at 25, right? So we're almost at 25. Look for this again and again. Like if we do not get the support in here around this kind of 42 level, and the sellers are coming through, likely right back down to the bottom minimum. And then because all of these guys are still in it, we did not get, this is where another thing to look at with your stop runs. You're not getting a stop run on the way up here. Okay, we're getting a stop run to the downside. Okay, so this little area here is critical to understand. This area right here. Okay, if they can get through there on some selling, then look for the potential for the continuation, or at least bottom of the range here, and then continuation to the downside. All right. Yeah. And there's plenty of room in here for it to run to these areas here, as you guys can see. Right. But our structure, well, we were looking at it. Thinking that, wow, okay, 3 wicks followed by a breakout here and buying pressure. Usually, well, not usually, I should say, we look for, though, if there's still more buying pressure in here, then we're looking for them to carry it higher. Okay, and then this would be 47 would be kind of support, basically. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe 43 or 44 would be support. Instead, we had one more wick to the upside, just not enough buyers, and then the sellers come in. Okay, let's look at a 5-minute chart here, just because looking at this 15 is not helping us too much. Okay, boy, that's not helping us much either. Yeah, and then we're looking for 30 and the wicks down in here for some support. And let's just look at our 30 level. Okay, well, they traded through it. That's pretty easy to follow through on. Then we're looking for our 25 level. Okay, and now 25 is just transacted. So Nick, what I'm trying to get at here is, like, there is some good stuff in here. I thought this was a little tricky to begin with, and this kind of order flow reading up here, when we started to note those, look at the structure, lower highs, they just can't do it. And then once you start to see the selling mount, you're looking for bottom of the ranges in here. Now that was where we kind of struggled a little bit, or reading the order flow in here. There was very little buying up here. We noted that. Here's a lower high, not much selling in here, maybe a little bit down here, maybe a little bit, but it's not that much. And we can get another move still to the upside here, but we don't. And then we see this here. Okay, you can even see that they came back and retested that. Okay, it's still true. The buyers can still take it here. Right, but we didn't have enough buyers. We trade through that area here. still, even here, buyers could take it higher. This is where I think, the order flow reading was much easier, or we're looking for this to unfold. If they're not going to be here to support it, we're looking for the follow through to the downside. Okay, so I hope that helps. Try to make the read a little bit simpler. Okay, so our cash open low is here. So let's see if we can go back down and test into 20. All right, let's go through the process again in here. Okay, I'm going to take the candles off for a moment. And I'm going to take a bunch of stuff off here. I'm going to take the on chart, stops and icebergs. I'm going to take my outside liquidity off for now. And we're going to take our volume dots off too. Okay, we're just going to look at market structure first. Okay, so kind of interesting market structure. Lower lows in here, slightly higher highs, just kind of flirting with it. Here it broke, but it did not accept higher. Okay, it broke down, and we made a nice lower low in here. This is where same idea as we were just covering. Okay, in the structure, the market structure, this little area in here, and maybe the bounce here. Okay, if we don't see the bounce, okay, or we don't see on the bid here liquidity, okay, we don't see buyers coming in, then see, this one's different already. I can already see it in the heat map here. Okay, so now let's see them trying to pull up this liquidity in here, and we're looking for now our buyers in here, right now. Okay, to break it away from this kind of volume node in here, or high volume node for this range. All right, so they just made an equal high here. Okay, so this structure in here is more complex. Okay, so who's really in control in this area in here is what we're trying to determine. Okay, here come some buyers. All right, let's see it, buyer. They're pulling here on the offer. They're on the bid. There's some buying up here. It auctioned up here. They should be able to press it up into 31 and 32. Okay, see the bid in here. See how this is a bit easier to read. Okay, I would like to see a lot more here on the bid, not just this blue area in here. Yeah. Well, that didn't last long. Bottom of the range. Let's see if they can come back up in here. Now we're back to this area here, and they're going to try to blaze through it. Yes. Okay. Now these guys are not trapped any longer. So looking for sellers remain in control, basically. Yeah, it's a tricky structure. This looks good in here. I mean, also in here, all of this buying in here, but here's where they're really put to the test, and we're back up above it here. This is another kind of false breakdown into that area. So I'm just watching this area in here, right in here. Okay, this 26. Okay, lower high liquidity here at 29, not able to trade through it. Let's see if the sellers can now break it down into 24. See, again, structure, high liquidity in here helped us here at 29, and we're through this area. So let's see now, we're looking to see for these sellers to trade into this liquidity here down to our 21 and 20 level. See, it's kind of skittish down here. We're seeing high liquidity come in here, and this is what we're trying to gauge as well in the order flow, is when we see that high liquidity, what's the reaction? Well, we found buyers. Okay, and 26 is still this critical little pivot here. Okay, now we're getting our sellers down here. Now they're pulling. Okay, sellers push it down to 20 then. Looking for the momentum to 20. Stop run. Okay, that's a stop run in there. Good one. About 300 or so. All right, so again, like even today, like a bit tricky with this market structure in here, but we started to note it in here. Okay, first off, they went below here. All right, and then we had buyers in here, and the buy-in actually looks pretty good, but they made a lower high, and this is where liquidity again can help you tremendously. They traded into here at 29, and they couldn't get through it. Okay, completely absorbed, not one tick above 29. Okay, so that's telling us something, and we trade back down, and then we're looking at our 26 level. We trade through it, you even get a retest to it, and then we get the follow to the downside. Follow through to the downside. Okay, so now we've traded into 21 and 20, and we're still trading lower. All right, so a little tricky in here. However, we started to note this same pattern in here as we did up here. All right, does that make sense to you guys? Like Dr. Mumu, that we go through the kind of basic auction theory in here, auction market theory in a lot of detail. In fact, our educational course is also based on that, and we can zoom in and look at this all of that. But one of the things to really understand, and we've covered it many times, and I want to continue to cover it. In fact, I would like to get in the habit of jumping in here every day and looking at who's in control from key levels, and we look for them to remain in control until they're not. Okay, look at this flip here as well. On the offer now, quite a bit of liquidity at 25. Oh, what's the reaction? What do traders think of these new orders in here? 712 orders up there. That's obviously a larger player. Our large lot tracker is showing that as well, the little white line in there. Yeah, I mean, you can judge the size and momentum. That's when you start looking at those range bound trades and you don't know like who's in control in the range. You can zoom in though and we can look at smaller time frames, and we could do that as an exercise. But we've been looking at kind of middle, kind of medium term, day trading events in here, and determining like who's in control. Yeah, we can really zoom in and look at the market microstructure, especially when it gets dull. That's exactly what we do, or we have to look at other instruments. All right, well, here's your kind of Scott Pulcini type of thing to take a look at here. We see stops to the downside, buyers coming in here on the iceberg, buying in here. Okay, and we're at lows of the day. Okay, all right, so we're still in a downtrend. Okay, so let's just do it again here. Lower highs now here, just slightly higher high, but it's still kind of lower high here, lower lows here still. Okay, now we're back up here. Pretty good buying up here. Okay, what about the bid? It's not really showing us much. Sellers can cut through this pretty quickly here. And the buying starting to mount though. Okay, just drawing up a couple of trend lines in here, just looking at what's happening right now, and just to see like where the volume is trading and what the liquidity looks like in here. Okay, very little buying here, selling starting to kind of pick up down here. Yeah, not seeing much. Buying, trying to mount here, trying. Up at 21.5, and they can't seem to do it. Okay, sellers, let's see if you can now take it down into this 19. All right, there we go. That's a quick move. Okay, these are sometimes very tricky or hard to kind of grab, but we're looking for it in here, and they just we noted we've seen this now 3 times. This is on a more kind of micro structural level, but we saw it on the higher, well, kind of medium term here. Let's just go through it. So we saw it up here. Okay, we saw it again in here, and then we're just seeing it now. Okay, now this one is a little more complex in the sense that well, it's just a smaller time frame. That's all. It's not more complex. Okay, now we are getting buyers back up here. Now they are breaking the structure. Okay, this guy moved his liquidity down. Okay, let's see them now trade into, and let's see if they can go through 23. There they go. Now let's see, are they above 23? And not by much though. Not a whole lot trading up there. Okay, they're above it though, and we have a new structure now we can take a look at. Okay, so yeah, let's see them trade up here to 25. Previous liquidity, there's still some up there at 25, and yeah, 25 even. Okay, so here's our new structure. Here, and it's starting to, whoops, sorry, starting to create a channel here. Okay, there's our 25. All right, so any questions on this about structure? Yeah, and again, these are, I know this is low time frame, and we're looking for the move like to unfold, based on the structure and then the order flow within the structure, and then we're looking for these areas in here. Now, this is very low time frame. We can zoom out. We just, again, for people who are new in here and think that this is only for scalping. Yeah, you can use it for scalping very successfully. No problem. It works on all time frames though, on much higher time frames. Right. So in fact, we can look at it here. Right. So think of it like this. Same idea here. This is our big structure, or that this would be a false breakdown. What if we get buyers back up above the pivot, and then we're coming back to 45 here? Now the pivot, this is kind of a weird pivot in here, but it basically needs to get above this area right here, which is what, 40 or 28. Okay, so if we can get back up above 28 on buyers, I'm looking for the move. Right, this is no different than some of those other things we were just covering, and we also have the spike below the low. Get people stopped out, and then see if we can get the rotation back in, and this would probably be the first area up here, just around 40, as a potential target. Okay, now we're going to look at high liquidity in here as well. Okay, so this is, now this, we don't know if this is going to play out or not, but we know that we're going through this scenario, and now we're looking for the order flow to support this scenario. That's really where we can start to look at developing some strategies. All right. Anyway, let's just let this play out a little bit. I don't really see much right now, to be honest. Maybe a bounce off of 24. It could even bounce off of 22. We have this kind of the higher time frame rectangle is here, but we're also, we could also break this down into smaller time frames. There's this rectangle. There's also this one in here. So we could get pullbacks to here or here. So to 22 or to 24. Right, now look at the bid in here too. Okay, see the bid is starting to support this a little bit, starting to bid up. All right, so this higher time frame idea, that's one of the pieces we're looking for. All right, I'm going to we'll come back and revisit this in a minute here. But let's just go through, like I said, this exercise, I think be really, really helpful for everybody. We've done it many times in the past, looking at our candlesticks and starting to drill down about who's in control in these time frames. So sellers are in control in this time frame here. Boy, I mean, we could look at we're going to just look at the past several days for that control. We're not going to make a big debate about this on a weekly or monthly or anything like that right now. This is as high as we're going to go. Okay, so just with the daily here. We talked about it many times over, this 42.50 level, and then the breakdown from it, the potential bounce here at this kind of 41.10. And then this move through it. I thought we'd even get a bounce maybe around 80. It didn't. It closed below it, and here we are down here. All right, so and our 5-minute is not giving us much. All right, so anyway, this big candle here, well, that's our control, sell side here on the hourly. Not seeing much today. We have a few wicks, that's about it. And then in here, it's a mess. Lots of wicks up here, and due to the wicks and then more buying pressure coming in, we thought we'd get a little bit higher here, and we were looking for that in the order flow, and then it just petered out, and then the sellers came in and traded it through those areas, and that's what this looks like here. Okay, so now on the 15-minute chart, at the moment, well, the sellers have some momentum here to the downside, but there's really no one quite showing control here. There was some pretty good momentum to the upside, and then now to the downside here, and they've made basically a close down here on the 15-minute chart, and so it's really very range bound in here. Yeah, not really seeing much in here on this 15-minute chart. Okay, so that makes our job a little bit more challenging on the higher time frame. Okay, as you guys can see, this is kind of the we marked up this pivot level on the higher time frame. All right, and we're down here now. Now, do we see buyers coming in here? Nope, not at all. Sellers are pushing it through. All right, so now we've seen this this is our fourth time. So we're looking for sellers to continue to the downside here. All right, did we get stop run in here? Yeah, we actually did get a stop run in here. Okay, so some sellers got stopped out. All right, but yeah, still looking for our sellers to hit this maybe 16 level, 15 level. Okay, they're on the offer. The bid traded here, but they're on the offer here. And we're not seeing sellers at the moment. Structure is still bearish, even though there's buying in here. Now, let's see if we get our sellers here in the break. Okay, this is once, twice, thrice. Nope, another rotation up. And we're getting some buyers here. Okay, they broke it. Very small time frame structure. Okay, can they get it back up into here where it dropped from? Some pretty good buying in here, actually. Some really good buying in here. Okay, sellers here, buyers come right back in. Okay, now who's in control here? Well, we don't really know. Is buyers, sellers here, buyers here, back up. All right, well, let's just zoom in here or try to get a feel for it. Okay, they're still pressing higher. Not on a lot of buying though. Let's see, more questions. Depends on the aggressors. Yeah, sorry guys, over in Discord here. Rob, I'm not sure. You know, I was kind of in and out of the markets, like, all day. And then, we had Doug's presentation in the afternoon, which was great. Um, and that is on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. It's under Pro Trade. Let me show it here, where you can find it. Okay, on our YouTube page, just scroll down. It's right here. Okay, it's under the Pro Trader webinar series. Okay, it's not in the live streaming recordings. All right, you can see Tom comes back here tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. East Coast time. Guys, I mean, this is it. I mean, like in here, like we couldn't determine who is in control, and it's still not determined here. One of the things about that, if you cannot determine who's in control and see that scenario starting to play out, well, these can be really great range-bound strategies. It's not my style. It's not really for me. I like to know who's in control and then to go with it, go with the control. But if you cannot, it's the same idea though. If no one is in control, then you would be looking for range-bound, right? I just don't like it getting caught up in a squeeze, like up at the top edge here or something, and then I go short up here. Yeah, I mean, you can look at the order flow, and you could look for, and I don't really, it's not my style, but we can look at the order flow in here. There's not a whole lot of buying. There's some selling in here on very small time frame. Maybe they can get back down to the bottom of the range here, and they did in this case, of course. But like down here, well, they're still selling in here. Then there's some buying. There is some exhaustion in here, but the sellers really come in here, and that's where they break it. Okay, so for me, the range bound trade, like maybe here, but most likely here, is where I'd be looking for it. And you've already given away like 3 points or so, and you can get caught up in that and squeeze to the upside. So yeah, I'm not, it's not for me really, but if you do not see the someone in control in some of these areas, yeah, it could be a good range bound strategy. Okay, again, these are not trade recommendations. You'll have to study that if it's something you like. All right, well, there still is some structural stuff in here that's just starting to unfold. Okay, so we made a higher high and a higher low here. Okay, and we're back up here. So now we can take a look at that, and you'd be looking for maybe getting in somewhere around in here, maybe this pullback here. Okay, now again, not a trade recommendation, but let's just watch this here. Do we have any sort of edge in the order flow? Man, not much. Exhaustion up here. There are buyers up into high liquidity here, but then exhaustion here, and sellers come in. Okay, there's some exhaustion on the buy side. Do we get sellers here? No, there's some. Okay, there's a pullback. All right, let's see here. Let's see if the buyers support it here. Yeah, I don't like it even here on the pullback. It gives you a nice little, potential entry right here. The book wasn't supporting it. Sellers could have ripped it right back down into these areas here. Okay, so not all the pieces here in the order flow. Now, but what we did, and this is why I wanted to point it out, what we did have is we have this swing down here, okay, and this swing here. We broke it here, okay. Even though we broke the smaller one and it went down below here, it's still above here. Okay, and we made a higher high. Okay, so in here, looking for them to reach back up to at least here, at least. Can they do it? Okay, 26 or 25 and a half. Let's call it even 25. Okay, can they reach in there? Okay, so didn't see it here. Saw some exhaustion in here. No buying, and then looking for maybe the sellers try to take it back down here. Yeah, just still not seeing it, not getting the complete picture. However, market structure, okay, we're still making higher highs and higher lows. Okay, now looking for the order flow to support that. Okay, and if so, then this would be your pullback right here. Okay, they're on the bid, starting to get buyers. Okay, back up to 25. Okay, it's pretty clear sailing all the way up to about 27. Okay, there's 25, or just about there. Okay, take some off. Look, it's just a consideration because we're playing the market structure and we're looking at the order flow in here. And the order flow is a little sketchy. Not really getting our buyers in here. Nothing really clean and clear in what we've seen so far. It's been mostly about market structure. Okay, but that's how important it is. Just a firm believer in the market structure. The more we understand of market structure, and then just looking at the volume within it and the liquidity within it. Yeah, Dr. Mumu, like, yeah, you can look at, I mean, you can play your market structure until it doesn't make sense. It's, I just don't think it's as high probability because we don't have the order flow to support it in some cases. Okay, but these we talked about, this would be your pullback in here. Okay, and then up here 25, like, or 24 and a half if you want to kind of front run it by a tick, then that's where you'd take some off. You'd only get a couple points out of it. However, you would hold it for a runner back up to here, and you're looking for the structure still to hold. So probably the next level that you would be looking for would probably be up here around 28 in terms of market structure. Okay, makes sense? Does that make sense? Very simple stuff here. Understanding market structure. Yeah, it's still sitting, Dr. Moon. I hear you. Yeah, this is like it's not giving us much. I think those reads to the downside were much clearer. I guess what I'm saying is, like, if we and this structure is still holding true, guys. It's still holding, right? Here's our low. It still made a higher low. Yeah, I don't know. It made a slightly lower high here, but Yeah, it just broke it here. Yep, it's still holding that market structure. All right, so get really good at this. It will serve you well. Okay, we can take the volume dots off and just look at the structure. Okay, let's clear our lines again here and just go through it. Okay, so we started off, God, I forget where we even started off. I think it was in here. Yeah, so here we made a higher high, and here's our higher low. All right, so God, I can't recall exactly where, but I know this one, and I know we looked at the move up into here. We did look for that, and that unfolded. Okay, and then we saw this one here, and it was still holding, right? And it made a higher high here. Okay, and it's still holding. Okay, we can also look at it with our lines. Okay, and we said 28, right? That would be the next level up here. And we're just about there. There it is. There's 28. Okay, so again, just understanding market structure is just huge. Okay, now let's look at the volume within it. Yeah, overall, there's still just more buying in here. Look at the dots, look at the bars. Now, this is super simple in hindsight. Okay, in real time, when we're in here and we're looking at this, heat map here. In real time, we're looking at this in here. We saw this was a beauty in here, I think, right? We had the buyers back up above. Well, not a beauty, but one of the better things we saw. And then looking for it to come up into this. Well, we liked it up here at this 25 level. I recall that. We said, yeah, let's just call it 25, which is here. Yeah, I mean, there's still more buyers in here, but not the cleanest read. Okay, now it's traded up to 30. Okay, so again, now we've broken this area up here. Okay, we made a higher low in here. So let's just watch this, and maybe we'll come back tomorrow and revisit this though. Okay, but our higher highs, okay, here, higher highs, higher lows. Okay, and we broke this one here. So we're looking for up here. Okay, high volume nodes in here as well, or just most traded levels. Here's another one in here, 35 and 38 or 39. All right, so we'll keep an eye on it in here and look for this to see if we can reach these levels in here. Okay, just look for your structure, and we'll have to revisit. Probably the structure will probably change and morph, but we will notice it. It'll be pretty easy to read. Okay, the structure should be easy to read, very easy to read. Okay, we can also look at within the structure who's in control, and we look for the for the buyers here actually are starting to take it. Okay, this is where the sellers took it down, but they were tested, and it was this. We were just not too clear on this little U-shaped in here. We were not clear. Sellers taking control, buyers coming right back in, sellers taking it back down. But that's where we noticed the higher low in here, and started to look for maybe a retest back up to here. All right. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that's a good takeaway, I think, for today. We'll come back and we'll revisit it tomorrow, and look for the order flow again around these areas in here. And just a note, this is how you can look at these kinds of very simple things within any kind of strategy. We had Oliver in speaking in German just an hour ago. His market structure was volume profile. Okay, Tom's market structure is volume profile. Doug's structure was options based, and then also looking at some of these higher lows and higher highs, etc. Right, so there's lots of different ways to look at it. It could be candlestick patterns, it could be Fibonacci levels, whatever it is that you're trading. Just look for the market structure and who's in control in those areas based on the volume, and then also the effect of the order book. Okay, does it transact? Are there more sellers than buyers in the liquidity? What is the relationship when they pop into the order book? That high liquidity. These are all considerations. Right, so mix that with your trading style. Yeah, it was kind of a tough read. I mean, you guys can see. Look, the initial target was here at I'm sorry, 28, right? Yeah, and yeah, it went up to about 32. It went above this swing here. Okay, now some heavy selling is starting to come in now, right? But it still made a higher high. Okay, so where's the swing low? Well, the swing lows are, we have this one down here. We also have this one here, somewhere around there, 25. So, yeah, we'll come back and we'll take a look at it tomorrow. Yeah, guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Again, just trying to get a feel for what it is you guys like. In fact, I'm going to put a poll in here really quickly on what you guys like in here. I'm just going to go over market structure, or now I'll deal with it next time. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and then we'll let it hang out in the chat there, so you guys can add more to it. Okay, so let's see. Any questions over here? Yeah, Rob, you're looking at. Let me show you guys something. Rob is looking at here. Just something really simple off of FinViz. Just to get a feel for the market in general. Now, in my opinion, and this is again just opinion, but something I like to look at, and something you may want to consider, is to start to look at comparing markets here. Okay? So this is the S&P 500, I believe, and we're looking at the whole market here, right? So what's doing well? Well, oil's doing pretty well. That's it. Okay, so there's a confluence there. So this is why we're jumping over to NASDAQ, and this makes, to me, this kind of understanding of and relationship of different markets is really, I think it's a really key element, because you want to understand something in relationship to another thing. You know, the currencies, it's always a pairs trade. The euro dollars, the euro versus the dollar. And then you can also look at other currencies. Well, how are other currencies comparing to the dollar or to the euro? And start to gain an understanding of that. Which one's stronger? Which one's weaker? Which ones are in control? Right? That's what we want to kind of gain from that. And it's all, you know, talk about auction market theory and value. I mean, we're talking about value based on not, you know, a technical area necessarily, but like we're talking about value based on what people think it's worth compared to something else. And that's tremendously important, right? So Rob, nice job there looking at the you know, looking at the whole index there. Can be very helpful. And consider that. We'll look maybe more into that as a you know, we can also use our correlation tracker in here to look at that market and try to gain something from it. I actually like, to be honest, I kind of like jumping over and looking at it here at a key level, and then getting a feel for the order flow here instead of just a line on the chart, and then jumping back to the S&P, and then looking for follow through. All right. So anyway, guys, even with this heavy selling in here, remember, like, we're looking at like the structure in here. It's still holding. Okay? It's still holding. Now, here comes some sellers right now. They're likely going to test it down to here. Okay? Likely going to test it. So let's see. And the move is down to what? 24. Okay. So, you know, now can they break it? Can they break the structure? Anyway, guys, I'll leave it at that. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch up tomorrow. Don't forget Tom B, 11:30. He'll be there. Let's see, what other special events do we have this week? We'll be on the lookout for it. I don't think we've put a bunch in the schedule yet on our calendar, but take a look later today. We'll probably have some events up there, maybe in the afternoon, etc. All right. So yeah, thanks, everybody. Let's reconvene tomorrow at 10 a.m. East Coast time. Thanks for coming.